The expansion of this battery factory in Gerd, just north of Budapest, has become the latest worrying development in Hungary's authoritarian drift. The government claims the €1.2 billion investment will create 2,700 jobs. That doesn't impress these local environmental activists.
The local residents have a lot of worries about this investment. It's worth noting that they did this without consulting residents on whether they want it. No detailed environmental impact assessment was made on what kinds of dangerous waste can end up in the soil, the water and the air.
Alarmed by the development, last autumn voters elected an opposition candidate as mayor. 28-year-old Csaba Balog had promised to use tax revenue from the plant to offset its environmental impact.
That's always the job of a municipality, that if they are allowing any factory in a city, then they have to compensate the citizens.
But the town won't be getting the money. Using special decree powers created to deal with the coronavirus, the government put the plant in a special economic zone separate from Gerd.
Around a third of our normal budget is actually taken away with this special economic zone.
The government says it used anti-Covid-19 powers to rezone the factory because of the lockdown's effects on the economy and labour market, but offered no further comment. The mayor says the decision is actually purely political.
Yeah, I believe that it was a punishment on the citizens who were voting for an opposing party's candidate.
Now they have to treat Gerd in this way. They have to take away all the rights what we had. They have to take away all the power what we had.
The 2019 local elections were the first setback for Hungary's ruling party in a decade. The opposition took half the country's major towns, including the capital, where all the opposition parties rallied behind Gergely Karácsony, a Green politician with a kindlier approach. In a country that has criminalised homelessness, Karácsony is creating a quarantine centre for rough sleepers in this disused part of the city hall.
We decided to create the shelter here to demonstratively and convincingly show everyone that the capital's leadership considers every citizen to be equally important, and that homeless people's lives matter too.
Karácsony says opposition mayors are the last bastion of democratic resistance in Hungary.
There is essentially no other counterweight to the government's power. Those public institutions that should serve as checks and balances on governments have all been brought under the ruling Fidesz party's control. The Constitutional Court, the Prosecutor's Office, the State Audit Office.
And now local councils feel the government is out to get them, invoking the pandemic and lockdown to justify various measures. For example, with public transport use limited, parking is now free, depriving councils of vital revenue.
Fidesz is using the difficult situation to restrict the financial and jurisdictional powers of the local governments, so then Fidesz can say the opposition mayors didn't achieve anything. Well, if they take all their money away, then they won't achieve anything.
Some opposition-run districts of Budapest have had funding pulled from specific projects, told it's needed for the fight against Covid-19. This community centre was due €1 million refurbishment.
I thought we could use the money to put professional stage technology in, along with equipment and storage options. It's obvious that it's not these 400 million forints that are going to make the difference to the country during the state of emergency, so we don't see this as justified. They didn't even try to explain why they're taking away this money.
Even as it takes away funding, the state has been giving local authorities additional tasks, such as providing meals to those suffering financially from the lockdown.
The real cost of a soup and second course is obviously much more than the €1.70 that they pay, but the prices relative to income are set out in the government decree.
Those decrees are set to stop. Parliament is expected to lift the emergency coronavirus powers in mid-June. But on allegations it's abused those powers to hurt the opposition, no one from the government was available to comment.